I didn't bring it up here. I left it down there. But in my larger case, I have one case in my palm here, and I keep it in another one. I have a card. And it came from a young man, a 19-year-old young man named Eric. And Eric goes to a school down in the Bloomington, Normal, Illinois area. And South-Chigago, same general area. But anyways, he goes to school there, and last year, about this time, almost exactly a year ago, this happened now, I was speaking at a church for the Reformation weekend stuff, and the church has a campus ministry. Oh my goodness. And so we will cut this down to 2 minutes. And so they asked me if I could come on Saturday afternoon and talk to the students on campus. And I thought, sure, why not? And I thought they meant the Christian students to talk about theology or something like that. Instead, I got there and I was shown the flyer they had passed out. Stump the chump. Do you think God doesn't exist? Do you like to just argue? Come, Saturday at such and such a time, free pizza. Yeah, alrighty then. We filled the place up for some strange, odd reason. And the first questioner, a guy dressed in all red with blue hair, quoting from the Atheist Manifesto. His name was Eric. And Eric asked a number of questions, and then after we got all done, to make a long story short, I never got any of the free pizza. Because Eric and I were talking. And I just, I let Eric talk. And at one point, Eric had this leather jacket similar to mine over there. And certainly not totally similar, but anyways, similar to mine over there. And for those of you who have seen it. And he had it draped over a chair. And he said, I don't even know, I can't even know that my jacket actually exists. That was his viewpoint. We can't know anything. We can't know that God exists, and we can't know what God has revealed. There's all sorts of different religions. We can't know. You can't even know my jacket exists. Really. I said, well, it's interesting. You're never going to live consistently in light of what you just said. So what do you mean? I said, I can guarantee you, when you leave, you're taking your jacket. You may say you don't know it exists, but you ain't leaving it. And you may say that you don't know that a car exists, but you're not going to be walking down the middle of the road when you leave here. And I just let him go on and on and on. And finally, he made this statement. I knew, since he's created the image of God, he eventually would hang himself. He eventually would say something that would hang himself. And he said, well, I know I should be more consistent with what I believe. And I said, in my mind, I said, gotcha. But outwardly, I said, why? He looked at me, what? I said, why? Why should you be concerned about being consistent at all? And he's looking at me like, dude, where did you come from? As he left, and I'd like to be able to tell you that he hit his knees and repented and accepted Jesus as Savior that night. He didn't. But when he left, before I left, I said, Eric, I said, I hope you don't mind, but I am going to pray for you. That's why I still have his question card in my case there, because every time I see it, then I can be reminded to pray for Eric. I said, Eric, hope you don't mind, but I'm going to pray when you leave this place that every single time you steal from my worldview to make yours work, because yours doesn't work without mine. It's my worldview that's going to make you take your jacket. It's my worldview that's going to keep you from walking down the middle of the road. And it's my worldview that's going to keep you driving on the right-hand side of the road. And it's my worldview that's going to cause you on a moral level to treat other people as you'd like to be treated yourself when you do it. You're going to keep stealing from my worldview because yours doesn't work, so you have to borrow from mine. Because you're created in the image of God. God created you to function in a particular way, and you can't function that way thinking the way you are. And so you're going to have to keep stealing from my worldview. Every time you do it, I'm going to pray God is going to convict you. Convict you that you're living inconsistently with your own worldview, and that by so doing, you are actually testifying that my God exists. And when he got up to leave, he put his jacket on. Victory. And he looked at me and he said, "No one's ever challenged me to think about the things you've challenged me to think about." And I said, "Well, I'm sorry that's the case. I'm sorry that's the case."